I just finished making this little wooden knife here. What makes this special is the blade is wooden Damascus. I actually made it up of layers of two different kinds of wood that I shaved off with my hand plane and then glued them together with epoxy, sandwiched in between layers of the lens that comes out of one of these fluorescent fixtures up here to make it that, you know, pattern there like that. Get in close and see if we can focus on that. I thought it was pretty cool, but I thought that it would be really cool if I could actually get it to cut something. I mean, what's the good of a knife if it doesn't cut? Now, I did get it sharp enough to, I mean, it could, you could stab somebody with this, no problem. But to get it to cut paper, I could not do it. This is as sharp as it'll get, and I was hoping that it would, because that would make it impressive. But it simply will not. Take a real knife that's properly sharpened and it cuts in no problem whatsoever. That'll tell you the difference between the hardness of steel and wood. The other thing that I did was I bought this stone about a year ago with the intention of making another sharpening jig for joiner blades. I figured that this stone would be better because it's bigger than the one that I had before. So I started using it in the meantime to sharpen chisels and whatnot and different things, but I used oil on it. So I decided that I don't want to use oil on the stone anymore. It makes too much of a mess. I'd rather use water. So I got water here and I've mixed a little bit of dishwashing liquid with it. I've also put in about 30% methyl hydrate. That way it can stay out here in the workshop, just sitting on my workbench, and it won't freeze, or it shouldn't freeze anyway. To get the oil out of the stone, or at least as much as I could, I used lacquer thinner. I just poured it on, brushed it in, and then wiped it off with a rag. And then I used hot water and dishwashing liquid to get a lot more of it out, so that when you spray the water on, it doesn't bead up as much. It kind of soaks into the stone now. And eventually it will, you know, all the rest of the oil should come out of it, actually be washed out with this stuff. Since I bought it, it's been kicking around my shop. I dropped it on the floor a couple times and cracked the corners off, and I was going to make a box to put it in, you know, that you would have a lid on, that type of thing. But then I figured the better thing is just to cut this piece of canvas here and just wrap it up when you're not using it. And then I can put it up on the shelf and it doesn't get covered with dust. And when I need it again, all I need to do is take it down, unwrap it, and use it. This is something else I've been working on for about 2 weeks off and on. I finally got it working correctly. And it's an automatic switch that senses when there's a load, like when you turn on the chop saw, this will turn on the vacuum. So I'm going to quickly hook it up to the chop saw and to the new small vacuum that I bought, especially for collecting the dust from the chop saw cabinet. So I've got it hooked up. It's plugged into the outlet. The chop saw here is plugged into it here. The vacuum is plugged into this one. Nothing's on right now. The idea is I pull the trigger and then the vacuum will come on as well. Talk about the vacuum for a second. I bought it about a week ago. I saw it on special, so I grabbed it. It was 50 bucks. This is a good time of the year to buy shop vacs, especially because, you know, snow's melting, everybody's basement's filling with water and flooding and all that, so I want to vacuum it up. So, good deal as far as I'm concerned. Not as small as the one I got down there, but still compact enough to tuck out of the way and beside the chop saw station here. So I'm going to give it a whirl here. I'm going to put my face in front of it so you can get the, you know, I don't know if you can hear that the vacuum's coming on. So yeah, I've still got to make a box to put it in. A case, some kind of case or container, and it'll be ready to use You know, these things are, they're not really expensive, but they're not cheap either. This thing cost me very little, actually. I had already had all the components. Even if you were to buy the components, they wouldn't cost any more than maybe 12, 15 bucks. A lot of it depends upon the transformer that you can get. If you're like me, you know, I go to Goodwill and these places every once in a while, and I grab whatever electronics device they got there. The older the better. Well, within reason. I don't want to go back to the days of tubes, because all that's just garbage anyway. So this transformer is 1/2 amp and it's 6 volts. I think I got it out of a clock radio, and it's perfect for this. I'm going to go into more detail on how this works with a video on putting it in a case. So I'm going to make the case and go over the circuit a bit more, also in a website article. I mean, if you're interested in building your own. The blinds videos on this channel are doing remarkably well. I didn't think that they would have as many views as they do. The 4 videos combined have around 100,000 views, which is remarkable considering that the channel is only a couple of months old. And you know, the subject matter of the wooden blinds, I didn't think it would take off like that. I still have to make a full build video for my other channel, and I'm going to be doing a build article on the website, which is going to have, it won't be a detailed plan, but it'll be a SketchUp model or a PDF, printable PDF with the template for the, whatchamacallit here, the knuckle, yeah. And I'm hoping to get that done over the next 2 weeks. I had a lot of people ask about the Shapeoko, what happened to that. I did get it running. Inventable sent out the new Arduino and G-Shield, plugged it in, everything's perfect, working great. I've got it kind of semi-set up. What I want to do is I want to build a bit of a table with sides on it and a cover so that I can, you know, have the cover made with plexiglass so I can see what's going on, but I can close it over and encase it and then hook a small vacuum up to it to evacuate the dust that it produces, and then keep it down in my basement because I have no intention of making anything out here with it. I was going to make smaller, possibly some wood things, but mostly for, you know, electronic type projects, you know, in the future. So I've got the video for the Shapeoko build coming out on my main channel tomorrow morning, if you want to watch that. It's interesting. I didn't go into as much detail as I would have done if I had finished it earlier. The problem is when you're making videos and you make videos the way I do, I take like lots and lots and lots of shots from different angles, and then, you know, that's a big folder full of stuff that you got to try to go through. And it's a bit daunting when you get further away from it because you forget, at least I do anyway. I used to be able to remember these things, but I don't anymore. So I have to go and look through every clip and sort them out and try to figure out how they're going to fit in. So I just did a wrap-up type deal. It does cover quite a few of the details, a couple of the issues I had. In the end, I'm happy with the machine. I know that the last video I did on this channel on it was kind of negative, but I was feeling very frustrated at the time because I was falling behind on so many other things that I had to do at the time as well. So it all works out good in the end.